Hey, what's up? It's Gail here. This is part 2 of the Snowflake series. On this video, I'm going to show you how to create this blue background, and you can do quite a few different things with it, and you can use this pie chart to do so many more things, but I'm just going to show you what this looks like, and then later, so this is the background that I have saved, and I will also show you how you can make this more round, and we can fix it up later. But I'm going to go back to here just to show you how we're going to get started. Now, I'm using a pie chart that I made, and I'm giving you the address down in the details below the video. You can use that, or you can take a screenshot of this picture I have up right here, and I'll show you how to do that. So I'm on an Apple, so I'm going to say what the shortcut is for using an Apple, but you can look and see if there's a screenshot on your keyboard, or look up your device's way of taking a screenshot. So I'm going to hold down the command button and the shift button, then I'm going to press 4, and then I get this little crosshair right here. I'm going to come over in the corner from one end, and I'm going to pull this out, and then to the other corner, and I'm going to take a picture of it, and then I'm coming over to a new Google Drawing. So I could go to Google Drawing by coming down to here and choosing new, but I already have a page open, so I'm just going to click over to this one, and now I'm going to find that, and you can save it to your desktop or wherever you save your screenshots, but I'm coming to insert image, I'm going to upload from computer, going to recents, and then I'm going to find that pie chart and then open it up, and now we're ready to go. We have the pie chart, and I'm just going to make this a little bit bigger. I'm going to hold down the shift key button, and if I wanted to, I could really make sure that I think that's pretty close. So I think I'm going to keep it like this for right now. Okay, so there we go. Okay. So now we're going to create one piece of the pie, and then we're going to duplicate it, flip it, and do all kinds of fun things with it to fill up the rest of the space. So the best way I know how to do this is by coming to the line tool. And this is the tool we're going to use. This is the Polyline. But if you don't see this, it might look like this. There's a line up here. And so I'm going to click on here. I'm coming down to the Polyline tool. I'm going to start with the crosshair in the center, and I'm going to be as accurate as I can, but for this video's sake, it's not going to be perfect by far. Okay, so I'm going to click on this, and then I'm going to drag it out. So every time you click and drag, you're setting up your next point. So now I'm going to match my crosshairs up on the intersecting lines right here, and then I'm going to slowly go around this shape right here. Now, if I click too close together, my line will stop. So I will show you how to get out of that in just a moment. So I'm just going to go around here, and I'm not worried about this being 100% perfect. I have another lesson that I will do in the near future that shows you how to mask your image to make it a perfect circle. So now I'm going to bring it back and hopefully match it up on the corner right there so that this is even, and that looks pretty good. And I'm just going to show you what happens if I click again. If I'm still in this tool, this is going to keep happening, and then it gets kind of crazy. So if I want to get out of this tool, the selection tool right here is also your escape tool, so I'm just going to click that, and it lets go of that, and it releases this shape, and now we're ready to rock and roll here. So I have the shape, and the next step is I want to get rid of that black outline. So I'm coming up to the pencil tool, which is your border color. I'm going to choose transparent there. And another thing is, if you're not happy where your dots are, you can double click right inside the box, and then you get these lines up here, and you can kind of bring them outward a little bit. And I'm just going to make sure that these, I would rather it be a little too thick than not thick enough. to kind of go around. So I'm just going to maybe play around with this a little bit so that I'm going to bring it over just a tad bit so that I want them to overlap just a tiny bit. So like so. And I think I need to bring this down a little bit. So make sure that that red line is completely covered up, and it's still not completely covered up. So I'm going to see if I can get that a little bit better. And one way I could do that is just by coming up here, bringing it up just a tad bit more. Okay, and I want to move this one up just a little bit more to the outer edge there. Okay, and this isn't perfect, and you can see that. So again, I'll show you how to do something with that later on. So I'm going to click on this shape, and now we're going to change the colors and start to have fun with this. So I'm coming up to the fill color at the top. I'm going to choose gradient, and then I'm going to select a blue, and the blue I'm going with is this one right here. And we want to kind of stay in the same color levels for this, but you can have fun and see what else you can create. That would be awesome. So now I want this light part to be at the bottom, and I also want to make it lighter. So I'm coming back up to gradient. Now I'm coming down to custom. These are your stop colors right here, and we can also add more colors. The way that you change the colors is you click on the shape right here, and then you go to the toggle, which is the triangle next to the select gradient stop color, and you can choose a different color. So the first thing I want to do is change my angle. I don't want it light here. I want it to be light near the bottom part of that line. So I'm going to choose this and come down to 270 degrees angle. And I'm also going to add at least one more color stop in the middle here. And if I want, I could add another one, but I'm going to keep it like this. And even if you move this back and forth, you can start to make it darker or lighter. And I think I'm going to kind of keep this one about right here. And then this one over here, I'm going to see if I can change that to a little bit of a lighter color. And I'm staying in this color range right here. So if I click on that one, that's lighter. And I think so. And you can get kind of a different surface, or it makes it kind of look more bobbled in some ways. So I'm just going to look for something to kind of make it a little bit softer like you would see in the sky. So something like that. And then I'm going to click OK. And that looks pretty good. And now we're ready to have fun filling in the rest. So I'm going to duplicate this. And to duplicate this, you're either going to press down the Control plus the letter D on your keyboard, or Command plus D on Apple. So I press that, and now I'm going to come up to Arrange, and we're going to use the rotation tool quite a bit right now. And I'm going to come over and flip that horizontally. Yes. Oops, that's not exactly what I wanted to do, but this will work later on. I forgot. Let me get rid of that one. I meant to flip it vertically. So I'm going back to Arrange, and then I'm going to flip it vertically. And then, of course, I forgot to duplicate that. So I'm just going to hit this back button, and I already have this shape again. I'm going to click it one more time. So I'm back to this part. And then I'm ready to go to Arrange, and I'm going to flip it vertically, and I'll bring this down here. So I was thinking about starting over, but sometimes it's kind of nice to see how we troubleshoot. So I will keep that in just in case you need to troubleshoot. And let's see if I can kind of match that up a little bit better there. Okay. And this is kind of tricky, isn't it? Let me bring it in a little bit more. So I can always bring it in a little bit more if I need to, because we're going to change that outline there anyway. So that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to just really kind of make sure those line up pretty well there. And let's see if I can bring this back down. I definitely want to cover that red line the best that I can. And it looks like this one moved up here at the top, so I'll bring this one down a little bit too. So this part, you know, is a little bit more of the tricky part, but I think I'm going to select these together and see if I can center it a little bit better. But I think I do need it. Okay, that one's just not kind of lining up right there. But that looks good. So I'm going to select these and I'm going to group them together. And I'm just going to try something here. I don't know if this is going to work. I'm just going to see if I can stretch it out just a tiny bit more. Okay, that's what I'm going to do to kind of problem solve there. Okay, so I got this shape. I'm just going to match it up on my corner there a little bit more. Okay, so if you find that this is being a little bit persnickety, you can come up to View, and I might need to go down here. Luckily it isn't selected, but sometimes they'll say, oh wait, Snap to. Guides is selected right here. So if you're having problems moving things around and it just seems to keep going to the same place, you can come down to Snap to and make sure that this is clicked off, and then you should be able to move this around a tad bit more easily. I'm just going to move that out a little bit there too. Okay, much better. Okay, so now I'm going to grab this and I'm going to flip it. So I want to duplicate first. It's Control plus D on your keyboard. Hold them down at the same time and then press your launch pad or mouse. Or actually, I'm sorry, you just have to hit the keys. So it's Command plus D or Control plus D. And then I'm going to arrange and I'm going down to rotate and I'm going to flip horizontally. And then we'll match this one up over here. And unfortunately, this moved a little bit. So I'm just going to get rid of this one. And it's together okay here. But sometimes that happens and you just have to kind of start over a little bit there. Or go back to where they were connected. So just be aware of that. Okay, and that looks pretty good. And so now I'm going to fill in here. Now you might think that, oh, we can just flip this 90 degrees and fill in these areas, but that's not what I'm doing to create the snowflake shape. What I want to do is to have this line, this light line up here. So this part's a little bit more tricky. I'm just going to hit Command D or Control plus D, and I'm going to rotate it manually this time by grabbing this little circle right here, and then I'm going to move it up here, and we're going to move that part in. And I'm going to see if I can eye it the best I can before I match that up. That's pretty good, and we'll see how that works. Okay, and if I let go, okay, that looks pretty good. Okay, awesome. So now we have the angle here, so we'll just fill in the rest. So I'm going to click on this one and I'm going to duplicate it 3 times. Actually, I'll just duplicate it once, otherwise it gets a little hard to see, I think. So I have this one duplicated. I'm going to arrange. I'm going to rotate it horizontally, and I'll fill in this part up here. And there's a number of ways we could duplicate and add this on, but that looks good. So if I wanted to, I could have just grouped these 3 together and flipped it. So I'm going to keep it like this though. So I'm going to grab this one on the right and this one on the left, and I held down the Shift key before I grab those, and then I'm going to arrange, and I'm going to group them together so that they will move down here together. I'm going to hit Command plus D or Control plus D on the keyboard, and now I'm going to go up to arrange and I'm going to flip it vertically, and there we go. And then we just match this up right here. And unfortunately, I can't blame it on the guides this time. And then if you're happy with that look, that's awesome. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to click on this page in the background if you want to save it. Well, you already have it saved anyway, so I'm just going to select it, and then I'm going to hit backspace, back, or delete on the keyboard. I got rid of that, and now I'm going to change the background. I'm going to double click with 2 fingers on the keyboard or mouse on the background, just 2 fingers, press down with 2 fingers. I'm going to background, and I'm going to choose the dark blue down here, and that's it for this video. It kind of looks like this one over here, and you can see that this one, you know, how variants and stuff like that can make your piece look different. So I'm actually happier with this one. So the next thing is, if you've already created a folder in your Google Drive, I created one called Snowflakes. You want to save your artwork, you want to name it up here. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to type in, let's say, Snowflake, or part 2, background, Snowflake. And you could also type in blue, because you can also change the colors of this anytime. So that's pretty awesome too. And then you're going to go to File, go down to More, and look for, I already have the Snowflake folder open, and luckily it's already saved there. So if it's faded out here, it means that's already been saved there. So anyway, that's it for this video, and I wish you well. Talk to you soon. Until then, you know, wish you the best. Bye-bye.